Hello, welcome back to the channel. If it's New Year, Happy New Year to you, unless of course you're watching this in April or something like that. But anyway, it's the start of a new year here on the channel. I thought I'd go through a few things that are going to be going on and have a bit of a chat whilst I do a little bit of interior work on the Volvo 480. Let's get inside and I'll show you what's going on. First things first, it's very cold here still in the UK in January. Temperature's only a couple of degrees, so even in the car here it's fairly cold. We're in the Volvo 480 because I realised the interior needs sorting out. There's bits of rubbish in here. I want to put the trim back in and things like that, and I thought that's probably a good opportunity whilst I'm doing that to talk about what's going on with the cars and generally cars, because there's a lot going on in the car industry at the minute, and some good, some not so good. So I talk about that whilst I try to sort out some of the car interior. Let me show you what I'm wanting to sort out. It's things like this where we've got that's the body equivalent of the body control module. We've got the bonnet pull. That's like the plastic cover that goes on the side there. That's one of the door trim sections. And then if I go around to the back, you'll see there's kind of bits in and lying all over the place. So I think we need to sort that out. I'm going to start off this video by saying a Happy New Year to all my viewers. Really thankful that you do actually watch the channel and you help me continue to grow the channel, because honestly this is just a hobby for me. It's just something that I find interesting, and so many people comment, like, enjoy, complain, tell me off on how I do things like that, but it's all good. I'm really happy that there's actually some interest to people that are watching me, and you know, you find some of what I do useful. You're never going to find it all useful, but yeah, thank you for that. It's really nice that people do actually watch what I'm doing. And what's going on with the cars? Well, this Volvo, as you know, has been a project for a lot more years than I thought, actually. Let me just put a clip of the first video for the Volvo 480 and you'll see how long ago it actually is since I got this car and thought, this won't take much doing. It's a bit of a barn find. It's a bit interesting. I'll give this a go. And boy, did I not realise what I'd let myself in for. I really hadn't. Obviously the car was in, I think, a lot worse state than I'd expected. The bodywork, certainly. I didn't think I was going to need to learn to weld at that point, but that's what happened. I had to start learning to weld and fixing the bodywork up and things like that. And here we are, we're getting very close to actually getting this MOT. Now the only downside is I did notice, I think the front suspension spring has collapsed. So whether it's the shock absorber or the spring, I need to get my spring compressors. That's going to be a job to do. You saw we've fixed the exhaust leaks. There is one slight leak at the back. I want to put a new exhaust clamp on. I'll probably just do that off video, but I do need it to be a bit warmer. That's the only problem there. So that's the Volvo 480. Now the Volvo XC60, that's my 2-litre diesel D4. That's my daily driver, so I use that all the time. That's doing great. That's on about 156,000 miles now. I'm thinking it's probably going to need its timing belt done, auxiliary belt, and all the tensioners at the same time. So that is a job that I think will be coming up, but I might end up farming that job out. I don't really want to do that on that Volvo because I do rely on that car. That's our main family car. I can't find where that device goes. Never mind. I'll have to look at that. Well, what I'll do is I'll look on a previous video and see when I took it out. I suppose that is the advantage of what I've been doing. So, what else has been going on? Well, the Nissan Juke, the 1.5 diesel. You saw a few videos recently about brakes. That seems all fine at the minute. Now, that is on 120 something thousand. And it could do with its timing belt done. Not sure whether that's one that I'm going to attempt myself, or whether it's going to be one that we get a garage to do and we farm it off again. We'll just have to see what happens with that one. What else have we got? The Vauxhall Corsa petrol. That's the one that my daughter drives, the black Vauxhall Corsa. That's still hanging on for dear life. That's over 100,000 for sure now. I can't remember exactly what the figures are. That one is still managing to keep itself running despite her attempts at killing it completely. Yeah, that one's still going. To be honest, I don't know how much life that car has actually got left in it now. But it's still running, and whilst it's still running, we'll keep looking after it. We of course have this, my Volvo 480. This is 2-litre petrol engine. You can see the dashboard is pretty much back in place. The windscreen staying nice and dry. Need to do the door stay, so that's another job where going to have to turn the car around, take the door off and weld on the inside because the door stay is damaged. That's why I haven't put the door card back in. That's the door card up there. And the other one that we've got is the BMW Z3. That's the 1.9 petrol engine. That one is MOT'd now, I'm pleased to say. Does need a little bit of work, so we do have an exhaust system sat here waiting. We have springs. What else have we got? I can't remember if we've got new brakes or not for that as well. But that's going to be a video coming up as the weather gets a bit better. If you remember the last video, we were taking off the lower sills. That still sat without its lower sills on, although the replacements are waiting to go on. So that one is ready to go. Now as well, generally, something has come up recently that has really upset me about cars. Now, remember, I'm more on the side of a hubnut than I am as a hamster. I'm not into the high performance, huge performance torque figures, all that kind of thing. I mean, like I say, my cars are diesels. They're not very powerful. Even the Z3, it's a 1.9. It's the smaller of the engines, because you can have a lot of fun with a low amount of power, and I find that quite interesting. But what's happening with the car industry at the minute? Well, there's some really worrying things going on right now. I saw an advert the other day. I'm going to insert it here. This is the Ford Capri. Now, the Capri is an iconic bit of kit. It's a car that it looked great. It had performance. It was the sought after car in its day. And now they've brought out the all-electric Ford Capri, and it looks like an SUV. It's not a sleek, sporty car. It's not something that inspires me at all, and it's one of the things that I'm seeing time and time again about cars at the minute, which is this drive for electricity. It's not something that interests me. I'm not interested in an electric car. I'm not interested in the mechanics behind them, because there is none. It's just an electric motor and a computer to control it effectively. And I mean, for example, that Ford Capri, it's about 41,000. I think that's the base figure. It looks like an SUV, so it's not sleek. The range is quite decent. It's going to have 300 to 400 miles range, which is really good for an electric car. But still, it kind of loses the essence of what a Ford Capri was. So I don't think that's a Ford Capri at all. And that's a general kind of thing that's going on. Now, Volvo have said by 2050, quite a long way off, to be 90 to 100% electric. And they mean full electric and plug-in hybrids. They're not really interested in these petrol-driven hybrids that much. So that's Volvo. And in the UK, there is a planned ban, which is now aimed for 2035, of all petrol and diesel new car sales. Now that's very key that it's new. We're not going to be losing our second-hand car market, because I think actually what's going to happen is that market is going to explode, because everyone's going to want petrol and diesel cars. Because like myself, I'm not interested in an electric car, so I'm going to keep my petrol and diesel cars going as long as possible. Now, that might have an interesting effect. What that might do is it might improve the second-hand car market. It's going to cause cars that are petrol and diesel to be maintained longer. So in the past, where a car got to 100,000 miles and was almost thought it's finished, it's had it, send it off to the scrapyard at the next fault, that's not going to happen anymore, which means that the second-hand parts market is going to improve. We're going to see production of second-hand parts improve all the time, and more of them going to appear. The big problem is going to be the fuel. The petrol and the diesel is going to get more expensive as it gets harder to obtain. So it may actually drive an alternative, and an alternative that will work in our older cars. So in my Volvo 480, am I going to have an alternative to petrol to put in it? Yes, that's what I think is going to happen. And that is going to be revolutionary. Never mind the electric revolution. This bit is the bit to look for. This bit is going to be the truly revelation, when somebody comes up with something that can mimic petrol or diesel but without the emissions. That's the one that I'm waiting and watching for, because that is going to change the car industry hugely. Now that's my bit of a rant over with on electric cars. It's not something I think I'm going to be going in for, and it's not something that this channel is really going to be going in for. I doubt you're going to see any electric cars appear on here. And here's the interesting thing: if you were a Top Gear fan, a Grand Tour fan, of course following Jeremy Clarkson, James May and Richard Hammond, they famously have said they're turning their back on the car journalism for exactly the same reason. They're not interested in electric cars. They're not interested in appliances, which is what electric cars are effectively. They're like your fridge freezer. They're not that inspiring. So this channel is probably going to stay along its roots. It's going to have tat like the Volvo 480. It's going to have the older cars, the car repairs, things like that. But what else have we got in store? Well, I thought I'd give you a sneak preview. We're going to be going a bit more for track days, because I've really enjoyed my first track day in the Z3, and we've missed out because I wasn't ready last year to get the car up and running and ready for the next day. So we're going to definitely get the Z3 repaired and on the track again and see how it gets on. The Volvo 480 that I'm in right now, what's the future for it? I really don't know. I want to get it over the line. I want to get it to an MOT and at least see how bad things could be, because I'm bound to have missed things and there's bound to be more needed. So what the future of this Volvo 480 is, with me, I'm not sure. I'd like to think that it's not going to get scrapped after all of this work, that I can move it on to somebody else that will appreciate it and keep looking after it and using it. So the 480, I'm not really sure. The other cars definitely are going to be staying, our daily drivers, but there's going to be more cars. That is something I can guarantee. This year there will be more cars being added to the fleet. So if you've got any ideas, pop a comment down the bottom. If you've got anything you want me to do, pop a comment down the bottom as well. But as well, we're going to try and take the cars on some trips. We're going to do a few road trips in the cars and see how they get on. Maybe there'll be a bit of collaboration as well. We'll see what comes up. Got a few things that I'm hoping to reveal later on in the year. But as well as that, I'm also going to throw in a little bit of electronics and tech into the channel, because it does tend to do well. You do tend to like it. I know the subscription to this channel is a bit all over the place. It's cars. It's going to be a little bit more electronics, because I know a few of you did go and take a look at my overdrive channel. Didn't really launch, didn't get anywhere. So I think I'm just going to combine it all into this main channel and do it all in here. Of course, if you want to comment on any of that, put a comment down the bottom. Give me a like, give me a dislike. But most of all, stay subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much for staying with me and keeping this channel going. We are approaching 10,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. I'm so pleased that people like what I do and dislike what I do as well. That's all part of it. So stay along for the ride. As always, any comments, pop them down the bottom. If you're not subscribed already, pop a subscribe on there, hit the bell as well so you get notifications when new videos come out. I would love to keep you involved, and let's see what comes up this year. Might be an interesting year, but for now I'm going to continue what I started trying to do at the start of this video, which is tidying the interior out of this Volvo and get things a little bit sorted. So I'll see you in the next video.